Coffee is a strategic product with millions of people having a real addiction to this invigorating drink. So why not make money from it without risk and significant investment? The best option is to open your own self-service coffee shop without spending crazy money on rent and staff. We will tell you about all the advantages, difficulties and nuances of this business. At the end, we will give you real figures to guide you if you're interested in this business, without any lies and embellishments. A self-service coffee shop business represents a relatively simple, inexpensive and understandable idea, the advantage of which is low competition at the current stage of development. You might ask what's the difference between this format and the classic vending machines that have already filled every shopping center. There, the coffee prices are cheap and there's a fairly large selection of drinks. The difference here is specifically in the target audience and the taste of the coffee itself. Usually, a vending machine is associated with low-quality drinks, which are often a mix of powders, not real bean coffee. A self-service coffee point offers a more advanced model, where we give the customer not a poor-quality drink at a cheap cost, but coffee comparable to the average offline coffee shop. Add to this the ability to use various toppings and syrups to taste, and a very democratic price which falls into the interval between vending and classic offline format. Customers save money but don't compromise on pleasure, and therefore come back again and again, getting their acquaintances hooked on this profitable find. This works very well in various business centers, where people quickly switch from vending machines to self-service coffee shops. This format gives a sense of creativity and allows people to create their unique recipes, encouraging them to try other combinations and share them with colleagues. And the coffee itself turns out to be much tastier than from the soulless vending machine next door. But believe me, these are not all the advantages of this business. Opening a coffee corner usually requires startup investments significantly lower compared to a full-fledged cafe or restaurant. This type of business wins due to its small size and the absence of the need to spend on a kitchen, which in turn reduces expenses on rent, equipment and staff. One of the key advantages is the ease of service, achieved with a minimal staff, only requiring a person to monitor the coffee machine and maintain cleanliness at the counters with additives. This makes managing the business relatively simple. Thanks to the ergonomics and compactness of the equipment, the owner can easily control the production process. You don't risk big losses if you choose the wrong location, as renting a couple of square meters is cheap even in the most passable place. You can control the price and cost of the final product yourself, for example buying additives at discounts, removing unpopular items. If you see that your business is bad, you just wind up the entire business and move to another place. And of course the main advantage is low entry cost. You buy only equipment and a counter. You can even start with $3,000 if you take budget options. And don't forget that coffee equipment almost doesn't lose value. You can always sell it on the secondary market. But then the logical question arises, should you open it yourself or look towards some franchise? The question of whether to start a business independently or purchase a franchise largely depends on your finances and experience in entrepreneurship. For a novice entrepreneur with limited business experience, purchasing a franchise seems to be the more preferable option. This approach is associated with minimal risks, as you will be accompanied and advised at all stages of development, providing support and help in mastering the basics of entrepreneurship. In addition, starting with a franchise can be more economically advantageous, as it requires smaller investments compared to launching your own business, as many processes are already developed and debugged and mistakes paid for. However, despite the advantages, there are also disadvantages in choosing a franchise. The owner has to develop the brand of another entrepreneur and also adhere to the standards set by the franchisor. Dependence on the actions of other partners can also be a negative factor, especially if their activity affects the overall brand reputation. Over time, as you gain experience in entrepreneurship, the advantages of franchise may lose their significance and you may feel that you're being deceived somewhere. It is important to understand that franchises are different. Some companies are genuinely interested in the franchisee successfully starting in the market and paying a percentage of their profit, while others just sell wrappers, earning exclusively on a beautiful package. You pay into the cash register and they conveniently forget about you. Therefore, we would recommend reading reviews on the internet, as budding entrepreneurs actively share their opinions about various companies, leaving you only to make a choice. But where do you get money if you have none at all to start? One way to get money for your own business is to use a social contract, which is available in almost any developed country. Add to this a tiny business loan, and you can move on to the first preparations. Taking credit funds is not so scary with this type of business, especially if the chosen location is sufficiently passable. You will be able to pay off your loan anyway if you break it down into a year. Although we describe everything so rosily, it is important to understand that risks exist even in the most reliable business. They are not related to the coffee niche itself, but rather to external factors. You might enter a bad franchise. The point might be damaged and you skimped on insurance or some other unexpected circumstances that exist in any business. Therefore, experienced businessmen recommend accumulating the startup amount independently to fill these funds and manage them more carefully. This applies to any business. Credit is preferable if you are already scaling up and clearly understand what you're doing. Otherwise, it's better to look for alternative methods like social payments or selling some other assets. After all, the average cost of opening one point is $3,000 to $5,000. And then we come to the most important stage – finding a location. Finding a good location for a self-service coffee shop requires careful planning and preliminary analysis. Even when a transportation company delivers your coffee machine to the city, it needs to be promptly collected within 3 to 5 days to avoid additional expenses for delays. This highlights the importance of early preparation, rather than buying first and then finding a place to put it. Moreover, great locations are usually saturated with various vending machines. Even though we'll be a class above, there might simply not be enough physical space to fit our point in the lobby of some business center. It's important to understand that foot traffic is not the most important characteristic. You could set up in the middle of a street teeming with people, but the effectiveness could be practically zero. Our self-service coffee shop would be well suited to large business centers, lobbies of administrative buildings, sports centers, commercial spaces, and other crowded places. The key word here is crowds, as not everyone likes to drink coffee on the go, and our format implies thoughtful selection of the drink and its fillers. Another important factor is the security of the business, as it's one thing to stand under a canopy on the street and another to be under the surveillance of cameras with security at the site where we are located. Signing a contract with the landlord in advance allows you to secure the chosen location, eliminating the possibility that competitors might occupy it while you wait for the delivery of the equipment. Such cases are common as soon as someone learns that a competitor is about to appear next to someone's vending machine. You might have to pay rent for an empty space for 2 to 3 months, but it's better than missing out on a worthy option while waiting for all the necessary equipment. Choosing the coffee beans for the vending machine is an important stage that will determine the quality of the offered drinks and the level of customer satisfaction. Here are some key points to consider. If your main goal is to minimize expenses, you might choose the cheapest coffee. However, this will likely lead to customer dissatisfaction, frequent servicing, and even equipment breakdowns. If you aim for quality service and building a regular customer base, consider coffee from the middle price segment or slightly higher. It is not recommended to immediately buy a large batch of coffee. Get a sample and carefully examine the beans before loading them into the machine. Beans should be of medium size, well cleaned of foreign elements. A dark brown color, correct shape, indicates the quality of the product. Ensure that the coffee beans are not broken and have the correct shape. Understand the varieties as they vary in price. Arabica typically has a slightly elongated bean, Robusta more rounded. A thin coating on the surface of the beans resembling fat indicates good quality. Experienced operators do not recommend using Cameroonian coffee and blends based on it due to the high initial oiliness of the beans. The optimal mix for vending machines is 60% Arabica and 40% Robusta. This combination makes the drink soft and strong at the same time, providing good foam and a sense of vitality for your customers. Choosing quality coffee is the key to a successful business. Despite the internet's portrayal of self-service coffee shops as a passive income source, we strive to tell the truth. Visiting your location 2 to 3 times a day can be a real challenge, but it's manageable with proper organization and technological tools. A key aspect that requires constant attention is ensuring the availability of all necessary ingredients. Telemetry technologies allow monitoring processes in the coffee machine via a mobile phone, which eases stock monitoring and timely replenishment. However, the busier the point, the more attention it needs. Regular maintenance procedures for the equipment, such as system flushing, wiping the coffee machine and counter, and cleaning the area with syrups and toppings are necessary, as not all customers will be careful with your point. These measures not only maintain aesthetics but also prevent potential problems, such as damage to the surfaces and the equipment system. Plus, people tend to avoid points that look dirty and sloppy. The cleanliness of the coffee machine affects not only its appearance but also the taste of the drinks offered, which is a key factor in retaining all customers. So you can't just set up the point and only visit to take cash from the machine. You'll need to dedicate some time to it every day. The optimal solution is to arrange with someone from the nearby retail or catering points to take care of cleaning your coffee shop. Cleaners often agree to this for minimal money, as it's just a few minutes of work, whereas the owner sometimes has to travel from the other end of the city. And most importantly, how do you attract customers to ensure the point becomes profitable quickly? Organizing free drink tastings is a great strategy to attract the first people. Choosing the right day and time for this event is key to its success. It's recommended to target working hours and visit all offices in the building where your coffee shop is located. Leave flyers or business cards to attract other colleagues who like to browse their colleagues' desks. The optimal time for tastings is from 12 to 2 p.m., when many people tend to take a break and enjoy a cup of coffee. Don't shy away from bright and eye-catching signs. Try to mark your presence in the building, even on the street, so people come in to warm up and enjoy a stimulating drink. Many put their machines in a dark corner, then wonder why people don't come to them. It's important to loudly and actively promote your coffee shop in public media. This fosters active business development and attracts new regular customers. Devise a loyalty system which can be implemented through an app or codes to not only attract a customer but also make them a regular visitor to your point. And of course, the main question: how much can you earn from all this? It's hard to speak for all service coffee shops, as a lot depends on the quality of ingredients and their cost, as well as the foot traffic of the point itself. As shown by the results of large networks, a point on average pays off in 9 to 12 months. There are coffee shops that break into astronomical figures in the first quarter, paying off $5,000 in 5 to 6 months. Much also depends on the region. In large cities, the cost of a cup of coffee will be significantly higher, while logistics and costs are cheaper because of nearby large wholesale warehouses and manufacturers. It's important to understand that you can really make money with modest investments. Making $500 to $1,000 per point, you can confidently work on the next one, gradually building your network. The business scales beautifully. Some manage to make millions really sitting at home, hiring other people who just travel the route and service numerous coffee points. As you can understand, the self-service coffee shop business is indeed a working theme. Minimal risks, the possibility of entering with a tiny capital, make it accessible to absolutely everyone. The main thing is just to start acting. But don't forget about analysis and planning. Thank you for watching.